Planet of Graves. Written by Marc Everitt. Narrated by Derik, Hendrickson. Prologue. Case open. Graves World, 31st of March, 2501. He was an arrogant man. He knew there was no one like him on the planet and reveled in the knowledge. It was a pity, in his mind, that he had been given such mundane tasks to perform. Jeff Hanley checked the thermal locks on the perimeter fence for what seemed to him to be the 1000th time. He was an unhappy man, worried that life was passing him by. He was an engineer, and, as everyone was told at every possible opportunity, a damned good one. He qualified, top of his class, from the Engineering Institute back on old Earth, and was already tipped for great things by the time he was 22. From the Institute, he was given a post on a star freighter as second engineer, the youngest officer ever to achieve the position in the colonial fleet's 4-century history. He rose to the position of chief engineer in 2494 at the age of only 24, and proceeded to break all records for competence, performance, and, as some of the people who had been forced to endure his company noted, unbearable arrogance. Jeff Hanley was a man who was going straight to the top, and knew it. However, the fact that he felt it necessary to broadcast this knowledge to everyone within a radius of several miles led to his downfall. Another engineer, not as brilliant as Hanley, but a little more cunning, who was sick of the attitude of the arrogant chief engineer, supplied the company with details as to when Hanley was going to throw another of his wild parties. These parties, where copious amounts of alcohol always led to rather large amounts of other substances, were frowned upon by the company and caused him to receive a discharge from his post and a swift transfer to the small frontier world Hanley now found himself on. Bloody ridiculous. Here I am, no one like me on this whole godforsaken world, and I have to check the perimeter fence so the Major doesn't have to leave the building, he mumbled to himself as he started toward the final checkpoint on his nightly check routine. Although he was assigned to the base as a nuclear engineer with responsibilities pertaining to the running of the station's reactor, the small number of inhabitants on the base forced him to have to perform routine and, in his view, menial tasks. His mind snapped back to the present, wrenched from its reverie, and he approached checkpoint 12 on the west side of the base. The dull sand of the desert world swirled around his feet as he moved nearer. Damned fool job for a genius, this one is. He snarled in contempt and stopped dead in his tracks. The lock on the final checkpoint was not secure, and the casing was scratched badly around the console panel. All locks were supposed to be secure at all times. Hanley decided it was probably a mistake on the part of the person who had last checked the fence at the end of the last shift. He thought maybe they had accidentally triggered the fence release code, but he knew that only the Major could do that. He was so busy pondering and moaning to himself about the incompetence of his colleagues, and generally everyone other than himself, that he failed to notice the approaching figure that was nearing him from inside the perimeter fence. A figure that had, until recently, lived outside the perimeter fence and never entered the strange world of metal and lead-lined concrete that was the scientific research station. The grumbling, arrogant engineer sealed the checkpoint release mechanism and mumbled to himself, "I don't know why I bother. Go around locking thermo locks because the Major is an imbecile." The figure was very close to him now and would soon be upon him, but he still remained engrossed in his singularity and unique nature. "Come to think of it, there's no one like me in this whole sector," he continued, turning to head to the compound, and half-mile in the distance. "And most definitely no one like me here on—" He broke off as he finally saw the figure that was fast approaching him. He drew in a breath he would never exhale. His eyes bulged, and his jaw dropped. The figure was on him before he had time to complete his self-gratifying sentence. Suddenly, with the swift lunge of a clawed hand, Jeff Hanley was proved correct. There was no one on the station like him. However, this was not due to any great intellectual capacity on his part, merely due to the fact that no one else was dead. Chapter 1. As one door closes. Earth, 2nd of April, 2501. Try as he might, sleep would not come to him.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?